Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Guile here, and welcome back to another Supreme Commander Epic. That's right, Epicosity graces our screens once again in a vain attempt at some kind of mea culpa for that epic break in programming you guys have just experienced. I have excuses. I always have excuses, of course. It's been crazy here. Work's been crazy. Got the builders in right now, which is making things just that bit harder. And the wife left me. That's right, that's true. Not permanently. She went on a hen do out in Portugal, but it's pretty much the same thing, right? I had 4 kids to look after all by myself. I sincerely hope I never get divorced, put it that way, because I was at the end of my tether. And couple that, just as the night she was leaving, 3 of us came down, me and 2 of the kids came down, or 3 of the kids came down with an epic bout of gastric flu. So it's been awful, man. I've seen things and heard things emerge from the human body that would make you shudder in fear. Let's just put it that way. And the washing's been piling up with stains of excrement and vomit, and yeah, it's been sad times. Basically, it's been character building. Isn't that what they say? That's what they say when you're a kid, right? And adults trying to get you to do something that you just don't want to do. That's what it's been. It's been character building. But anyway, enough of that. We'll get back on an even keel. I'm going away for a couple of days again soon, but that won't affect next week's cast, I'm hoping. We've got some good action for you today to make up for it, and that action is going to take place on Setons because, as we always say at Guildcast, in the loosest possible sense of the word, all vagaries taken into account, Setons players are more or less humans too, so they should be represented here at Guildcast, and to that effect we are going that way today. I'm ready, you guys are ready, and the players are sure as hell ready. So let's go on over to the game zone and see how they're going to get on chain. Ka-chain. And we know what we're dealing with here. We'll call this Team 1 up here at the top. Oh, I've got rid of one of the things already. Didn't need to do that. Misclicked and went cyber and see what I did there. Team 1 here at the top and Team 2 down here at the bottom. Going first for Team 1, air position. Going Ferrari red. UEF, it's Clark. He's opening first land. Down here at the cliffs, having already got rid of his little sign by accident, it's Raunashuk. And here he is. He's going Aeon and going Fecal Brown. Bless him. Interesting decision. Opening first air. And down at the causeway, we've got Jazzy. He's going UEF in baby pink, opening first land. And last but not least, over at the beach for Team 1, we have Mize in Pontiff White, and he's going Seraphim, opening first land. So a Seraphim and an Aeon and 2 UEF there for Team 2. Let's take a look at Team 1. Rearguard air position as first. As always, it's New Blue going in lurid green and going Aeon, opening first land. Very sensible racial decision, of course, for airplay. And over at the cliffs, we have Mix. He's going Cyanide Cyan, going UEF, going first air. Of course, both cliff-based races going first air makes sense, going for that early transport to get that side island, that natural expansion. Over to the causeway for Team 2 is Zweibeck. He's left his base and already on his way to the reclaim in the middle of the map. He's going Seraphim in Vivacious Violet, and he opened first land. And last but not least, over at the beach for Team 2, we have Butcher, and he is going that horrible, that's Aeon green, isn't it? And he's opening and going Aeon, funnily enough, and going first land. So there we have it. 2 Aeon, I think that was right. Was it 2 Aeon? Yeah, 2 Aeon, a UEF and a Seraphim for Team 2. Game quality at 94%, which is what we consider to be a balanced game. And compared to a lot of the other team games that we've looked at in the recent past, this is a very condensed kind of talent range. We've got the lowest rated player is Mize over here at the beach. He is on 1300, and the highest rated players are the two air players on each team. They're rated 1700, and everybody else is either, well, pretty much 1500 with 1400 in Zweibeck down here. So very, very like, you know, close-knit game. All the players should be more or less similar sort of standards. So looking forward to seeing what transpires here as the 2 causeway players encroach towards the middle. Jazzy not making his way hell for leather straight onto his opponent's turf, trying to scoop his mass first. Very often you see that the two comms strutting past each other, trying to pick up each other's mass. No, nothing crazy here for Jazzy. He's just going to scoop the tanks one at a time and make his way further in. Schweibeck, is he going to try and make his way over the other side? Well, quite possibly. First planes out on the map, and they're actually for the two beach players, as they'll be looking to potentially deny the natural expansion of the side islands from the cliff players. You can see scout plane for Mize, followed by an interceptor going straight, making a beeline straight over there to try and shoot down any potential super early transports. Instead of going for the side island, it seems Butcher's just go straight for the main base, and he might get an early kill here as he flies straight past a chariot that's already got 2 engineers loaded. Oh, this could be painful for Ryunashuk, who might be going, oh, in a minute when he gets his engineers blown out of the sky. Might as well drop them off now, son, while you've got time. That transport's done for. It's got a plan B. Indeed, he does. Takes a little bit of a hit on the engineers, but keeps them alive and goes straight for a production of naval factories. You look at that. Instant plan B, like what I'm seeing there. Commiserations about your transport, sir, but to be honest, it was an ugly looking thing anyway, let's face it, like most of the Aeon tech. Actually, it's quite not. I quite like the Aeon looking stuff. It's pretty sleek and cool, generally speaking, even though it's incredibly treacherous language for a UEF member to say. Straight on with completion of that first naval yard and on to the second. That's the first operational naval yard on the map, so that should give him an early advantage. You could get a couple of subs out, go straight down here and try and go for a deny. Not seeing any super early transports coming out, at least from Mize, it would seem. It doesn't look like we're well, working on a chariot there for Butcher. It's about 80% done, so he is going straight for the island grab over here. But of course, if he loses the naval play in the bottom pond, he will struggle to hold that for any significant length of time. It's always hard to hold it anyway, but it's just about trying to slow up your cliff player, your opposing cliff player, as much as possible. Try back. Firing a couple of pot shots over at Jazzy as the spam enters the fray. Might not like the look of that. Might think there's a lot more coming than there actually is. That persuaded him to back up slightly, but he's going to deal with those without any major issues. Let's take a look at who's actually done better out of the reclaim competition between Jazzy and Schweibeck. Jazzy's picked up 7.5k in terms of reclaim on the causeway. Schweibeck on 5, so that's definitely gone better there for Jazzy and his team. A lot of that mass will have spilled over to assist. Meanwhile, Chariot with a couple of engineers about to reach that side island and try and drop them off. It's actually 3 engineers on board there. No planes inbound. Looks like he's going to make it, so nice work there from Butcher. Still no transport as yet would seem from Mize, working on retaining air dominance on that side of the field, pumping out the interceptors as best he can. T2 upgrade on the way for Ryunushuk's comm. And Jazzy's actually going to profit from the death of his own units there in that little engagement with Schweibeck. To the tune of potentially 1,000 or 2 mass. 8.5k versus still a paltry 5.6k. So definitely doing ever so slightly better, it would seem. There's now a larger contingent, though, of Scion-flavoured interceptors in this top pond from Mix. Not risking any transport drops that side island until he's confident he's got decent air presence. I think that's probably a sensible maneuver. Now, decision to make for Mize. Does he keep his planes over here and try and maintain a guard on the island, or does he bring them back and try and maintain control of his own airways up here? Still working on interceptor production. T2 upgrade on the way for both causeway players. 45% next to 21% down in favor of Jouaibac. It's a fun word or a fun name to say, isn't it? Jouaibac. Probably not saying it right at all. It's probably not fun at all. Straight to T3 for Noob Lube. 7% done on that Air HQ. How does that compare up here? 16-17% down with Clark. Very close, finely balanced margins. And look at that snag. Transport away, gets spotted by the Inties. They hang a right turn and say, come back. I'm not done with you. Get the transports in the sea, my friends, or they're gonna drown. Indeed, they drowned. So, nice little bag there from Mix, who's been battling away with Mize to try and get control of all that mass over here. And the decision was made by Mize to keep a guard on the island. And that's resulted in that transport getting shot down ultimately. You can see him attempting transport production right now. Bottom pond, meanwhile, we've got a T2 Naval HQ, 3 T1 naval yards, excuse me, to back it up, next to the simple trio of T1 from Butcher. So while Butcher's enjoying the steady flow of, what was that, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 mass from that side island currently, the feeling that's going to come to an end soon, as soon as we get a destroyer or a cruiser out from that naval headquarters. Another transport away from Mize, really going for it. Might still get this, you know. Meanwhile, epic engagement on the causeway between Jazzy and Jouaibac. Jazzy having hit T2. A little bit of shield coverage there. Jouaibac outnumbered, but he's got the T2 PD back here, somewhere safe to withdraw to. Another one going up over here, although a lot of spam still heading southwest from Jazzy. He's going to annihilate those engineers and that T2 PD. Shame he hadn't got some T1s in here as well. Jouaibac down to 9,200 HP and being pursued by Jazzy. He's just dismantling this position right now. Jouaibac on 50% health, doing his best to contend with this span. Jazzy happy to pursue. Meanwhile, that transport looks like it's going to make it. There's already a distance build going on, though, from Mix. And, of course, naval units starting to enter the scene. It's going to be hard to set up shop now and hold it for Mize. Long way away from home. Jazzy having gained a decent chunk of territory on the causeway there and control of potentially both of those mass points. See if he can hold it. Goes for the T1. First of all, sensible decision. Then works on the triad for range. And on we go with a bit of PD war. Zweiback took a battering in that exchange. 6,100 HP left there for him. ASF's now entering service for both teams' air players. Engineers successfully dropping for Miser, making their way to the top of the island setup shop up there. They're going to be just behind this factory. It's going to start working, I imagine, on a Lobo or two. That would be the way to go. And indeed, there it goes. This is going to be interesting. Get that Lobo up the hill and take out those engineers. No, there's not enough time. There's too many engineers that will go active. Flying up. Bottom pond. First salvos being fired between these two destroyers. So both players at T2. Slightly bigger force though coming south for Rhinoshuk. Cheeky little mech marine trying to get some work done up at the top. Doesn't quite make it. He's lost a couple of engineers. I like that. Play quite a lot, and that'll do. This is great work here from Mix. There goes the final bit of assisting build capacity. Mech Marine attack with a Lobo at range, and so much for that drop. That has not worked out for Mize. He waited just a little too long. And there it goes. That's the end of his presence on that island. That's a solid win for Mix using minimal expenditure. Nicely done. Back to the causeway. Joyback with some shield coverage now. We're going to get ourselves into a bit of point defense war, it would seem. Just to get on and finish that point defense up front, having nearly completed it. Irritating hill in the middle. Is he worried that that next one is going to get blocked by that little tiny wrinkle in the terrain? That's just infuriating. You at least try get that online quickly. Does he not realize it's not complete? What's going on here? Thinking about dropping back again, maybe getting another shield up to cover this bank, and that being the full position. No, he's starting it up, and indeed, God, what is it? The profile, the triads, because of the firing arc, are getting over that just fine. Is it because they're firing on these T1 units, so the angle of attack is too low? It's a major issue. Little advantage for Jazzy. Best trying to get a static T2 online back here if he's got the finance for it. That may be way over his budget though. Joyback short stacking the field by a comfortable way. In fact, Team 2 generally. Well, we've got a couple of 200, so we're on 57 for Joyback in the middle. Butcher on 44 at the moment, but seems to be generally up around the 60s. I'm imagining that's a power lock that he's experiencing there. Yeah, indeed it is. So he's having power troubles. Should be up to around the 70 mark. But everybody else on triple figures for Team 1. Trying to solve that problem by going for the resource generator upgrade on the comm. That RAS operational. Mobile missile launchers. A few of them getting through. One buzz kill for Jazzy. Just blocking the occasional missile. And Mix now comfortably in control of that side island after what was a pretty lengthy early game struggle to establish control of that, I think it's fair to say. And predictably, Butcher's control has been all but extinguished of the side island over here. It's so difficult to hold on to that for any length of time. As soon as you hit that T2 naval stage, it's pretty much what happens. Really, it's about just disrupting the Cliffs players for as long as possible. Pretty sizable ASF air wing there for Noobloob. Flies straight past Zooey drop that's inbound from Mize. Gets one of the transports. Will it get the second one? Easy money. I was about to say we're just not in that phase yet of solid air coverage and intel coverage, but nice work from Noobloob. Patrolling the skies. Must have just caught sight of it from one of these patrolling scout planes. Large contingent of floaty, naughty, trying to slow down Ronashuk's naval pressure, of which there is a lot, it has to be said. A bit of assistance as well from Jazzy, who's thrown down a naval facility over here and is starting to pump out destroyers. Pretty much the best strategy for a causeway player. Try and beat your man on the causeway, get control of the middle, set up shop, and either help in both or put everything else into one of the ponds. Help your teammate vanquish his opponent. I think he's quite got the firepower to lock Butcher out here as yet, but I tell you, could go that way, especially with the assistance coming in from Jazzy. We're up to 3 destroyers down here for him now. We do now have 2 fresh naval yards in the bottom pond down here from Zhuaibak. That one is about to complete to T2. It's now mobile missile launcher versus TMD. First player to build a static T2 emplacement wins. Artillery. But really much more focused, it would seem, on naval pressure for now. And indeed, that is a good breakout from Butcher, forcing away a combination of the Aurora spam and those destroyers. Large air entanglement over here, as well as Noobloob tries to shoo these ships away with torpedo bombers, and has caused a lot of damage on those fleets. He will have lost a lot of those torpedo bombers in the process, but has given Butcher the space he needs, and of course Zhuaibak as well, the space he needs to get set up to assist him. Good solid work. From Team 2, leveling the playing field. And this is an incredibly even game so far. So we're 21 minutes in, and even look at the mass totals. That's not a huge differential. 530k versus, well, so 5334 versus 551. That is not massive by any stretch of the imagination. We've got, it's hard to work out because you're not seeing the much of the figures after that. You've only got the decimal place there, and it's in thousands there, but you're talking about 100 mass bonus in favor of Team 2 on generated eco, which again isn't enormous. New Blue putting out 410 mass. That is pretty huge compared to everybody else. And that'll be why he's going for mass fab farms. He's not alternating them with power production, which is interesting, because he's trying to keep his unit count respectable. But really ecoing hard right at the back there. Certainly overtaking everybody else. Time being, a solid stalemate on the causeway. Mobile missiles still coming in thick and fast, but the vast majority of them being shot down before they make contact with the shields. We have a new T2 naval yard though, and that's just chucked out one of those dreaded Seraphim cruisers, adding yet more missile mayhem to the party for Jazzy, who spent a lot of time recently building buzzkills, it would seem, just to contend with the spam he's already facing. Power on the way for Ryonashuk. Massive T2 torque bomber stockpiling going on for Clark. Still quite a bit down here as well for New Blue. Clark's caught up somewhat in eco gain, 460 versus 477. Again, as with everything else, two air players very closely matched. Omen class battleship. There's a turn up, running away from a horde of smaller, irritating Auroras, just running for the cover of that main escort group. Those frigates more than a match for the Auroras, and the first nuke of the game is out, and it's from Mix over here in the far western edge of the map. Where's it going? Is it going to Jazzy in the middle? Might be Jazzy's main base. That could have been a definite kill right there if he'd have gone to the middle. But Setons, of course, full shares usually on, so this is pretty much just as good at this point. All the power that he had in the world, as well as all of his core mass in the proverbial toilet. His eco now down to 102 per tick, short stacking the field and being forced to draw power off everybody else just to survive as the air players dance and tangle above Butcher's base. That looks like it's gone pretty well for Clark. More ASFs coming in all the time, single fire from Noob Loob's base. Torque bombers put to work on Zhuaibak's T2 naval headquarters over here. Whoa! Look at that! A blast from the sea. Mix comes out of nowhere with a couple of Neptunes and just zaps Jazzy right on the shoreline there. And suddenly Team 1 go a player down at 27 minutes. That was a clutch assault right there. Very clinical, very unforgiving. Now Clark is forced to hold the causeway and the skies. Still tangling above Butcher's base over here with Noob Lube. They really need a lift now. If they can shut Butcher and Zhuaibak out of the sea down here and claim the bottom pond, feel like evening it up somewhat. That naval yard over here is gone. But most importantly for them, that a quarter survived and has since been upgraded to T3 as well. Cruiser absorbing huge Omen hits there. Down that goes. Again, just not enough vessels to hold the bay. Ras on the way for Mize. You can see the gap that's opened up now with Jazzy's demise. Team 1 on 1.1k a tick, Team 2 on 1.4. Oh dear, maybe not. Neptune's running headlong into 4 Seraphim battleships just lying in wait. There is a summit coming up for backup behind. Shield boats doing their thing. One of the most pivotal units in the game. Huge asset to the UEF arsenal. Oh, is Zhuaibak about to lose his T3 naval headquarters? Got a lot of build capacity, which is helping rep it up. Rhinoshuk could do a lot worse than to dispatch a unit to take out some of the engineers. Turns out he doesn't need it. So much incoming fire. Down that goes. With it, all of the naval tech production for Zhuaibak in that bottom pond. Being chased by one Seraphim destroyer in a bad way, actually, that Neptune from Clark. And Clark gifting that T3 naval UEF naval HQ over to Rhinoshuk. Says, I've got enough to contend with, thank you very much. You control the navy in the bottom pond, would you? Payback for that Neptune pressure. That'll do it. Lose a few torp bombers and that's it. Flies into that small flak screen. But look at this. All of the naval yards are now defunct or destroyed, with the exception of this one down here for Butcher from Team 2 in this bottom pond. Team 1 very, very close to shutting Team 2 out of this whole naval region. Essentially forcing potentially both Butcher and Zweibeck out of their bases. Top pond looking a lot more static. It looked like we were going to get some major movement when Jazzy went down. Mix had those Neptunes, but solid number of Seraphim warships lying in wait further up. Stalled that attack. Clark just terrorizing this fleet with his torp bombers, picking off as many T2 units as he can. Jazzy concerned about the air situation. This would be a good engage if he can get close enough. Doesn't quite manage it. Breaks off. A solid number of air factories spewing out ASFs. Let's just take a look at that. Jazzy seemed concerned about what he was seeing. So we've got 25 T3 air factories there for Noob Lube. Clark, by contrast, on 18, so there is a significant difference right there. He is ahead of him slightly because he's sitting on Jazzy's old resources in terms of eco. 715 versus 614, about 100 extra mass on there. And there's the engage. Wasps v Corona en masse, away from any of the air to ground, sorry, ground to or sea to air weaponry of Mix's fleet. So it'll be based purely on air power. Torpedo bombers, meanwhile, continuing to go for it. Did that nuke get shot down? I think it did. Seeing it, or any detonations. And indeed, that has gone badly for Clark and Team 1. What on earth? So there it goes. Butcher stood his ground on the beach and gets pummeled by Raudashuk's Navy. And that evens things up on the player side of things. Does dump a lot of extra resources. Well, a lot. Another 150, 200 into Noob Lube's coffers. Another nuke out from Mix. Air dominance now with Team 2 and Noob Lube, who has an advantage on factory numbers and an ability to keep that advantage. Plays sensibly. Lots of build capacity hovering around this SMD, which is not going to be able to complete a missile in time. And it's going to get engulfed in the explosion. It's going to take out Jazzy's old core mass. It fires, but a little bit too late. Oh, it fired just too late. And does actually survive the explosion, but wastes the missile, which is absolutely brutal. Clark loses three T2 mechs, three T3 mexes, but keeps one. Just fired too late. And hello, experimental from Zweibeck coming in to finish the job. Up the causeway now. Generated eco, you're now looking at a differential of about 250, 300 mass between the teams. something like that. As the fleets merge over here, Mix and Mize. Rhinoshuk getting busy with the T3 Aeon missile ships. Just one of the most awesome pieces of weaponry in the game. So much range, so much damage. So difficult to defend against. Actually surprised Butcher didn't pull away. Maybe just didn't fancy carrying on with his base gone. I understand the feeling, I really do. There goes Rhinoshuk's Naval, UEF Naval headquarters that he inherited from Jazzy, and then Clark. Titanic struggle in that top pond for supremacy. Chicken still going strong over here meanwhile. 44k on the clock and steaming in on the remains of Jazzy's old base. We've already got 2 Ravagers up and running. There goes a 3rd. 4th under construction. So much damage off those bad boys. We spool up, launch a volley. Down goes 1. Shield coverage, it's only T2. Something, a little bit of crossfire coming in from the Seraphim battleships over here to help. Actually, a lot of this is going to survive intact potentially. He gets a Rankin vet. Maybe not. Gets a bit closer, so when he dies, the Ion Storm should do the rest, and actually pretty comprehensively destroyed that up front position. Meanwhile, ASF's battle above Clark's base for what must be the first time in the game. That is pretty damning for Team 1. Major air dominance over there. And hello, Paragon under construction. 4 support commanders getting to work, and that's going to take a while and a hell of a lot of resources, but goodness me, won't that be a problem for Team 1 if that thing's allowed to complete. Mix putting a lot into nuke and anti-nuke construction. Rhinoshuk managed to defeat that factory down there at the bottom. Sent a couple of vessels to deal with it. Now, surely Dryback is going to find it difficult to hold on to all of this. What's left of Butcher's old base is more or less gone. Not much to shoot out there, so the natural target next for these battleships and these missile ships is to take out these 2 bases over here. 38 minutes. And still, although it's fair to say, I think it feels like Team 2 has been in the ascendancy for a while. There's no clear winner, or no one's really steaming ahead in this one. Butcher's demise certainly leveled the game a lot. Blue asking for resources, trying to get his Paragon up and running as quickly as possible. He is a 5th done. It's not actually taken very long. It's definitely the right time to do it when you're already ahead at your position. He's got solid air dominance over here. He's about to assist Mix with another round of torpedo bombing. Surely going after these Seraphim battleships, I would imagine. Maybe not. Maybe focusing on the T2s. Can't tell what he's going for. Next nuke out, it would seem, going over to the fleet over here. Really? Going for the side island? I suppose there are T3 mexes there. We'll slow up mass production for Ionoshuk a fair bit, I guess. He's on 501 at the moment. Naval. Is that a suggestion, or you've seen it, Butcher? There that goes. And it has taken him down a lot. It's down to 366. Well, Clark has indeed started a Mavor, so it's been spied by Team 2. And that's going up fast as well. That's 2,000 of 8,000 done. That might get ready before the Paragon does. Oh, maybe not. 55% complete and climbing pretty fast. Getting to work on some shield coverage. That, to me, is a little bit late. That should have been up and running already before you get to that point, surely. Next nuke. About 45% done there for Mix. Very close, this battle now, to Mize's naval yards. Just get the feeling a little bit more pressure, and indeed we've got some naval yards popping up from Noobloob. Just wants to add a little bit of extra oomph to kill that. Mize is talking about tele-defense. Facing any Cyberins today, thankfully, but we still do it with support commanders and whatnot. Support commander here for Zhuaibak has been dropped into that position. His T2 transport and setting up shop. See a bit of play there from him, and another drop coming straight down the causeway as well. 3 T3 engineers versus 6, 7, 8 actually T1s coming the other direction. Wants to get work on something fast though. Find themselves getting blapped out of existence. Let's check on the Mavor. How's Clark getting on? Well, he's doing pretty well on that. That's about 60% done, but what about that Paragon? That's very nearly done. With lots of shields going up around it. It's all well and good though. They're trying to protect that thing against the Mavor when that goes online. Hard work, usually that sort of situation turns into the world's most expensive firework display. Transport with a couple of like Percivals maybe. Actually, it's some support commanders in the background. Yeah, a couple of support commanders from Clark. Says 2 can play at that game. Zhuaibak, where is he headed? He's headed down here. Agreed to come over and set up shop on the beach.
Strategic launch detected.
Another nuke away. This time, though, it's from Mize. Going for the fleet. Get a whole bunch of support commanders if it lands now. Oh, look at that. Just a bit further over would have been juicier. But that's a lot of dead support commanders. Goodness me, what a nuke. Took down a summit as well, but if only he'd landed that nuke there, could you imagine? That would have turned this fight in the top pond truly on a 180. Naval nearly done. I'm so excited. I'm completely impartial. Completely impartial, but I always get a rush of sexual energy whenever I see one of those. It's nothing to do with its phallic shape at all, I promise. Support commanders going pop all over the place. There it is, Clark's mighty erection. Have they scouted the Naval is the question. So Naval, sorry, the Paragon is the question. Haven't been paying attention to the chat as usual. Yes, that's been scouted. Surely that's where you're going. We've got another Naval over here, and that's nearly done. Because it's getting assistance. It's pretty much being built by Noobloob. Has the operational Paragon, so suddenly resources mean nothing. Oh my god. So both teams get a Mayfor at exactly the same time almost. A few shots are going to get out first, but now this Mayfor is going to counter that one and go straight for Clark's, and Clark's is virtually unshielded. He's going for shielding now. Schoolboy error. Will he get the Mavor before his goes pop? Well, one more shell would do it. That's going to cause a lot of damage. Support commanders, he's just finished. He's just finished. Oh, it's beautiful. That's absolutely beautiful. He just finished, and it rapid fire artillery, and then the entire place gets vaporized. The first shells look like they're coming into land now, and what's worse for Team 1, Clark's got his comm standing right by this sucker in amongst a field of power gens. He's got his own personal shield, which is helping to cover the Mavor with. It's almost depleted already, and that he's still not firing on their Mavor over there. Oh, he's not going to get to keep it, and he might die in the process, having just scored that awesome victory on the Paragon. I think it's going to be short-lived. And not only that, if he does survive, he's going to be utterly crippled, and they're going to have a Mavor problem to deal with. Their situation has probably gotten worse, not better. At least there's some breakout now happening from Mize, who's pushing back in top pond. That will come as small consolation to Clark, I'm sure, when this thing goes up, and it's only a matter of time. You saw how quickly those shields buckled around the Paragon. Couple of shells, that's all it took. Oh my god! The next one will do it. Clark's shield's gone almost. We're about to lose Clark as well, or just the Mavor. Shield blinks on just in time, saves the Mavor, but not some of the factories and the P-gens around it. Clark is on the move. You might as well get your comm out of the way. There goes the Mavor. Clark takes a bit of a hit, down to 75% health, but that's it. He throws out the GG, thinks it's all over. There goes all of his aerial production capacity and most of his power with it. Oh, just getting picked apart now. What hope is there? didn't scout it in time. They didn't see it. They didn't know that's what they were facing. There's about to be another one as well. Was that the only Paragon, is the question. It's very typical once you get one up to immediately start building a second. And to his credit, though, look what he managed to inflict before it went up. So he killed the Paragon, and he took out most of Noobloob's production, aerial production as well. It looks like he's zeroing in on the comm. Wants to take out Clark. So beautiful. Just, it's all about timing. And there it is. Kaboom! Clark down and out at 48 minutes. Ryanashuk takes over what's left of his base. He's got a rapid fire artillery on the way. That's going to be helped by that cash injection you'll get from Clark's demise. There is a nuke out from Mize. Where's it going? This has got to be target priority down here. Take this out and do it immediately. Naval's going to have uninterrupted firing now for some time. At the side island he's going for, potentially.
Strategic launch detected.
Another nuke out. That looks like it's from Ryanashuk's Navy. There goes the island. .619 mass down to 587, could be worse. Sea-based nuke taking a hit from the SMD down here inland. Experimental bomber completes though. That's going to go straight for Ryanashuk's build capacity, setting up shop in Butcher's old base. This could be major issues and headaches for the Navy down here. Mix focusing on producing as many Stingers as he can, going mass T2 gunship as he tries to contend with this Colossus that's been steaming its way inland from Ryanashuk, trying to make its way to Noobloob's main base, but gets gunned down long before that.
Strategic launch detected.
Another nuke out from Mix. Going up here, Mavor shells landing, going after the SMDs. That one's got 4 anti-nukes in it and is surely going to die on the next shot. Maybe not. Shields blinking on just in time. Got 2 nuke launchers up here. Oh, that nuke's going to get shot down. I can't believe it. Maybe not. Maybe not. Yes, it will. And still it doesn't die. So the nuke gets shot down. Timing just off there. A little too expectant on Naval's accomplishment. Doesn't manage to deal with it. How the mighty have fallen. Rapid fire completed for Ryanashuk over here. They've got a pretty impressive range. Indeed, it's the entirety of the map. Surely that's going after the Mavor. Mavor solidly shield covered, but of course nothing gets through shields like the rapid fire artillery. And it's for some reason going after the T3 mexes on the island up here. Surely that will be reprioritized before he loses the element of surprise. And it looks like it's been retasked now. That experimental bomber is not the same one. I think that other one we saw before must have been shot down somewhere. Experimental bomber going after Mize' navy. That's going to take out a lot of flak. Oh, juicy. Very juicy. As is this. Why are you going for that? Oh, he's going for the SMDs. So he's not going straight for the Naval. He's trying to take out the nuke defense. Down that goes. Is that it? SMD's still up, says Butcher. One up at the top, and there's 4 loaded in there. He has to take that out. He's going for the areas that are weaker shielded. Try and get this done quickly. Meanwhile, that latest nuke out from Mix, heading up once again towards Mize, and that's still got anti-nuke in it. That's the one Butcher was talking about. Down that goes. If they can take out the anti-nukes down in Mix base, they can fire off a nuke and get this done, and then they will be favorite to take this. Nearly a nuke loaded in there. Nearly one there. Has he still got the nuke launcher over here? Yes, he has, but nothing loaded in that. How long on the destruction of the SMD? Well, not long. Apologies for the relentless zooming in and out. I know some of you can't stand it, but it's a necessary feature at this stage in the game. Oh my god, 60 hit points. And there it goes. It's down, it's out. There's another SMD that's been hastily thrown up. This is now vulnerable to nuclear attack. Has he got a nuke to fire? Yes, he has. There's one in the clip. Fire it. Clark says nuke now. He even says it in local, telling the world, fire the missiles. He's still not doing it. The silo doors are still closed. Ronashuk shouting at Mize. Mize saying scout it. No, fire the nuke, for God's sake. Oh my god, I don't believe it. I don't believe it. That anti-nuke's half done and he's not firing it. His teammates are screaming at him, use it for fuck's sake. This must be how Hitler's generals felt when he wouldn't release the panzers at Normandy. It's like, what are you doing? We've got them pinned on the beaches. Give us the tanks. But no, Mize is asleep. He had a heavy night last night. There is a lot going on in this. He is under now experimental bomber attack, but oh my god, why have you not fired? Fire the nuke. It's been sitting in there forever. This could be it. This could be the moment that Team 1 potentially lose this game. What have we got down here? Presumably on our way to a new Paragon somewhere. You wouldn't just give up on that, you would expect. There it is. That's going to go online soon. You've got rapid fire artillery. No, you've lost that. That's already been taken out by something. God knows what. But you missed the chance to take care of the Naval. There must have been the Naval that's taken that out. Who knows? That might have survived if he'd fired it when they first took out the SMD. We don't know when that went. Oh my god. Oh my god. This is just painful. Mize has the nuke. He's not spoken for a while. He said scout it. That was the last thing he said. And there it is! Oh my god, there it is. But is it too late? Where's the SMD? It's too late. He's finished the missile. I don't believe it. I actually don't believe it. Oh my god, my blood pressure's up.
Strategic launch detected.
That's... his teammates are going to be raging. I never promote any smack talk. It's never a good thing. But I could understand in this particular instance why somebody might want to talk some shit. Excuse me. He's missed an opportunity. That I don't see. That's going to get shot down. The Naval's going to stay online. The Paragon's going to finish. How did Team 1 get out of this game alive? I don't see it. There goes the missile. They was vulnerable for ages. Clark can't believe it. New nuke out heading his way. That might be... We missed an anti. No, you didn't. It was vulnerable. You had it. He just didn't fire the missile in time. You waited 20 minutes. Nice base. Gonna take the nuke. He's gonna lose his base-based nuke launchers. Just about survives. All of the build capacity around the comm goes up with that, but the comm weathers the shockwave. Paragon complete. Want to build another Paragon. That's definitely intentional. I'd want to build it right next to all of my other key buildings, though. For me, I think that's probably not a great idea. It's amazing how evenly matched. So we got a bit of a seesawing, excuse me, in the top pond between Mix and Mize there. Mize really broke out and forced Mix back, but it's now back to what seems to be a bit of a stalemate. And now they haven't taken care of that Naval. That's still wailing away. There's going to be a new one soon. Mix is going to have his own Paragon, which is going to be donated over. I feel a bit sorry for Raonashuk, who did everything right there. He's managed to rebuild a Mavor of his own, actually. So what is that? Mavor number 3, 4 in this game? But it's got very little shielding around it. Won't be long before that gets targeted and taken out. Certainly doesn't want to be going after Schweibek's little base down here to try and take out one of these Paragons. That would be key right there. One shell and it's all of that's gone. See, now Zweibeck's going to tell the rest of his teammates, presumably, that there's another Mavor up. It's hard though. Raonashuk's literally dealing with all of this air battle going badly for him over Team 2's territory. He's hoovering up the support commanders down the ocean. Summits. They're running away from these sub-hunters. Back tells his teammates Mavor's up. Experimental chicken. Moving into Mix's territory. That's just Mavor's popping up all over the shop. Second Mavor up here online. All sorts of trouble coming his way, that chicken, soon, I'm sure.
Strategic launch detected.
Where's that nuke coming from? It's another sea-based nuke from over here, Raonashuk. Surely got anti-nuke coverage, you would imagine. Disappointingly so, no more explosions there. Chicken not doing too badly, but there's a whole bunch of support commanders coming his way. deal with that Naval that was under construction. But not going to make it to the others. Valiant attempt, certainly. This. Mize forcing Mix right back to the edge of the map with these sub-hunters. Why he's not just sending everything in at this point.
Strategic launch detected.
Another nuke out there from Mize. There's still SMD down here. We have actually lost one of the Mavors, so the Mavor up here did get some work done, but there was a second one online, and now that's taking rapid fire artillery shells, so that's going to go down. Alas, poor Yorick. Knew him well. Oh, it does kill that one, though. Where did that come from? We've got another artillery piece up there, or was that a long range battleship volley? Seems like a another Mavor shell. Maybe it's just a major lag time on the destroyed one up at the back there. We've got Zars popping up all over the place. Doesn't look like the Paragon's going to be threatened anytime soon, and Team 2 are just going to pound Team 1 into the dirt. There's scouting going on, some spy planes running past. This is beyond the pale now, beyond any chance really of Team 1 getting back in this. It's a shame as well for Team 1. Like, we're getting some work done over here. Yes, he's running out of sub-hunters now. I think it's because he's behaving desperately. Would have been a bit more sensible. Oh, one nuke right in there. One nuke. Zars targeting the ships there of Rhinoshuk. It's like, shoot them down, I don't care, it still helps me. It's fine. Mize throws out the GG. Is that a proper GG or a lamenting GG where they say GG but then don't quit? No, he's quit. Control K. Coming out there from him, leaving Rhinoshuk all by his lonesome to face the music and dance. Look at that. One big brown mess. It's just like my weekend. Rhinoshuk sending in a wave of ambassadors because why not? Going to get spied, perhaps. Popping onto the scopes soon, surely. Maybe not. They're going to get through to something. They presumably try and go for the Paragon. He's managed to get a GC close. Oh, last bit of shield coverage. Do they get some bombs off? Drop the bombs! Well, a bit of a consolation prize. Boom, baby! That will feel good. But that will be his last action, last offensive action, I think, as a huge wave of T3 torp bombers come in on his comm in the pond here. Oh no, you've got one of the Paragons. And that, as they say, is that. Solid play from both teams, but oh my gosh. What would have happened if Mize had launched that missile? I feel like I've aged like a couple of extra years, a few more grey hairs, a few fewer hairs of any colour. Generally, that was hard to watch, that section. I might have lost my marbles and a bit of my impartiality and my coolness there. Apologies if I did. The mask slipped, as did my famous British Reserve. But that was annoying. It's when you see it, though, especially when it's like, so there's nothing really more satisfying than when a nuke hits a whole lot of really expensive things and you get to see a pretty explosion. That's one of the best things about this game. And when that doesn't happen, when it should happen, that's just, that's like, I'm not going to say what that's like. I was about to say something horrendous and inappropriate, but a session of lovemaking being cut short by somebody walking in on you. That's a nice way of putting it. That's a nice way of putting it. Put it this way. It was just a huge disappointment. But I hope nonetheless, guys, that you enjoyed it. I certainly did, all things being considered. Everyone go in an order as well. You have to go easy on Mize and not be horrible to him, because that sort of thing can happen. Maybe he thought he didn't have a nuke loaded. It's Sopcom head. Who knows? It's easy to do. But anyway, guys, as I said, I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget, if you feel so inclined, do feel free to support me on Patreon. All donations make a world of difference and help keep the channel alive, and by extension, helping the community. So thank you to all the donations I've had so far, and any that come in the future. They mean the world. But until next time, guys, stay well and stay safe. This is Guile, signing out.